Well, good morning and welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on my wife's van again. We bought this van at 100,000 miles. Engine's in great shape, transmission is in great shape, mechanically great shape. The body is freaking rusted out. They had this thing in salt roads, snow roads, whatever. Didn't really replace anything in the time they had it, so I'm trying to catch this thing back up. There's a lot of rust on this thing. Right now we're just trying to make it ride good, ride efficient, and all that stuff. So we replaced the front coilovers, a lot of the steering stuff for the sway bar links, the coilovers, and all that stuff. Today we're replacing the rear shocks. These shocks are shot, they're shot shocks. And we just got a lot of bounce going around, and I didn't realize until I crawled under there to look at the existing shocks right now, but the rear stabilizer bar, sway bar, the end links and the bar itself are all rusted out as well. So stay tuned, I'll probably be ordering those to replace those as well. But today we're doing the rear shocks. What we're using are these Gabriels. I'm not sponsored by anybody. The part number on these, I'll go ahead and throw up on the screen so you can see that. So look for that. This is what these look like. They come pre-compressed. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get going on that. Let's get started. Also, try to be somewhat safe. Anytime you got it on ramps, even if you're not on ramps, always chalk the tires, just so that you don't have any oopsies and never be able to go to work again, you know what I mean? Alright, so I'm hoping that all we really need for this job, besides a crap ton of rust remover, because this thing's rusted out, is your 18 millimeter socket. An extension. This is probably 10-inch extension, somewhere in there. You can get your extension. You're going to need your ratchet, which is also a breaker bar. What? And you're either going to need an 18 millimeter wrench or a crescent wrench or another socket with a ratchet to hold the nuts on the back side. Should be all we need, except for a crap ton of WD-40 liquid wrench or your favorite stuff. We're going to do the passenger side on video. The driver side is the exact same, literally, so you're not going to need to see both of the exact same things in the same video. So if you come in, this is your passenger side, this is your rust, this is your back tire, right up in here. This is the top of your shock right here. So you can fit your extension without removing your tires. I'm on ramps just because I fat and need to crawl under. You can put your extension in right there and it fits. Comes almost to the edge of the tire, so you shouldn't really need a whole lot there. There's no backer nut on the top section. The bottom section, that's all my rust. Bottom section, again, same thing, only this time you have a nut on the other side. You'll put your wrench there, your ratchet there, and you'll just go to town. We'll pull those out, I'll put the new ones in. These are the stabilizer bar end links I was telling you. They're kind of rusted, the bushings are all kind of toast, and then if you follow that along, it's just super rusted out. The bushings are toast, so I'll probably replace those too. They should be pretty cheap. Okay, I'm actually changing my mind and grabbing just one more short extension just to make life easier. So you're going to stick your extensions in there on that 18 millimeter dealio. Grab that, your breaker bar. You're going to remember that righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I'm going to do lefty-loosey, just like so. That actually broke loose a lot easier than I expected. Oops. Alright, and there is your bolt. There's actually surprisingly little rust on that thing. That's why it came out so easy. There's rust all over the housing though. Alright, So now that that's out, we can get in, we can do your lower one. So the rear, it's the exact same, only you have a backer nut you need to hold on to. Just find where it's comfortable. Probably easier to use a box wrench for this, but you know, my garage is a disaster right now, so I just grabbed what I could find. Put your 18mm on the bolt. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. We switched to a shallow socket just to keep this easy. Okay. Should be finger tight by now. Okay, so there's your bolt, there's your nut, and you might have to get a little aggressive to pop this out. There you go. There's your shock. So as aforementioned, whoo, doggy, that's rusted. But it's also, you can try to compress it, and it gets stuck. See, that should not get stuck. So then you can pull it back out. I don't know why I'm holding you guys. Okay, so you can pull this back out. You can shove it down, and it gets stuck there. Okay, should not get stuck. Should pop back up. So that's shot. So for example, you got this one. So the new one, you're gonna have to compress it to get their little safety catcher off of it. And see how that one comes back out. So this one, oh, we got to pull it back up. You can take your measurements, make sure they look the right size. So pull them up, make sure they're the right size, and then compress them both. Make sure they're still the same size, which they are. If you release it, look how much the new one reacts compared to the old one. So definitely toast. Definitely time to replace about, I don't know, 30,000 miles ago. So let's do it. Alright, as far as reinstalling these, as you saw, we did the top bolt first on the old one, and then we did the bottom bolt next. It really doesn't matter to me for uninstall, but putting them back in, I actually, believe it or not, find it easier to do the top one first if the tire is on. If the tire's off, it doesn't matter as much, but when the tire's on, it's easier to put the top in first, because then you can get underneath and you can just push the bottom one up until you can get the bolt in. These are not that hard to compress. Yeah, I mean, you might get a little workout, but they're not that hard, so that's my preference, but it doesn't really matter, whatever you find easier. Okay. Well, this can be fun to line up. You're really not going to be able to see, and I apologize, but just going to stick your bolt through the eyelet. Get your first couple threads started by hand. Let's see here. No idea what you guys can and can't see. And just like removing it, we're able to finger tighten it, finger loose it, finger tighten it. Until it gets too stiff to do by hand, stick your ratchet in there. Make sure you're going righty-tighty. And we're just going to get it snug. After we get the bottom in, we'll go back and we'll do your torque specs. All right, so the top one was the easy one. If you really want to make this easy on yourself, you'd grab your wire brush and you'd clean these threads because they're all rusted, but we're just going to go with it as is. So now, if you don't try to push this up fast, if you just give steady pressure, it'll go up. Except, holy crap. That's how rusted this thing is. That's the bump stop. Just fell off. Oh, jeez Louise, man. This thing is rusted. All right, anyway. So you can push this up and slide it into the finger or the bracket. Now this actually seems like the bracket's a little bit too small to fit. So you might have to force it in there or just grab something to spread it without killing your fingers. I'm just gonna stick this up there and try to spread it just enough to let the shock slide in. There it goes. So once that slides in, just line up the holes. Oh yeah, it's tight in there. Might have to get a little screwdriver. Get your screwdriver to help line up the holes if necessary, which this one looks like it's necessary. Okay. Oh, we were lined up and I kept moving. Okay, get yourself lined up and hold it. Stick your bolt through. Just like so. And you're gonna put your nut on. Hit your wrench, your box wrench, your crescent wrench, whatever you're using. And your ratchet. Okay. And again, now I gotta get my torque wrench and find the torque specs. All right, so now you're gonna look in your repair or service manual for the correct torque specs. Leaf spring, shackle, shock absorber bolts right here. 65 foot-pounds is what we're gonna do. It looks like there's only one and it just says shock absorber, so let's go with the fact that both up and down are 65 foot-pounds. So we find 65 on the footer pounders. Let's see. 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foot-pounds. And we're on Titan, always important. Okay. Right there, that's 65. Now we're gonna go down below. As long as your stopper nut, your backup nut, is not moving, you don't need to have your wrench on there. Just not. So we're just gonna go 65, which is right there. All right, guys, simple as that. That's how you replace your rear spring or your rear shocks on this 2006 Chrysler Town and Country. I believe there's several years that'll work for. I want to say it's 01 all the way to 07. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. Either way, it should be fairly similar for most minivans, actually. Just remember, 65 foot-pounds for the torque spec. Replace them, doesn't really matter upside, downside, first or second. Make sure that the sleeve that goes over the rest of the shock is installed upwards. That just keeps water and stuff from getting trapped and going down. Also, that's how the manufacturer wants it installed, so also good. So anywho, we got lots of projects on this van. We got lots of projects on my other cars, a few projects on the house. If you want to see any of those, check out my channel, hit that subscribe button, give this one a thumbs up if you liked it, leave a comment about what you'd like to see or questions you had on the project itself, and till next time, stay healthy, stay safe. Adios.